All right, we ready? Mhm. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Bronson, President of the Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners, abbreviated as TBCE and referred to simply as the Board. I'm calling this meeting to order. The date is August 21st, 2025, and the time is 9:03 a.m. Please join me in honoring our American flag, followed immediately by our Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, one and indivisible. The Board Secretary, Dr. Michael Henry, will call the roll. Dr. Henry.
Thank you. Please respond with here or present if you are here or present. Dr. Mark Bronson.
Here.
Mr. Josh Holub. Not present. Dr. Mindy Neal.
Here.
Dr. Nicholas Bockham. Here. Dr. Matthew Mix. Here. Dr. Michael Henry is present. Sarah Abraham. Shelley Gardner.
Here.
And Dr. Scott Wofford. Here. All right, a quorum is present.
So I believe we have 9 board members present currently, right? And Josh is en route, so when he arrives, I'll announce his presence. Of our 9-member board with 8 members present today currently, I affirm that we have a quorum. Also, Mr. Joshua Holub has asked to be excused from the May 22nd, 2025 meeting for reasons that he was in an accident. I'm not opposed to this request, and I move to grant Mr. Holub an excused absence for the May 22nd, 2025 meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Honorable board members and Team TBCE, thank you for your ongoing service and for preparing your reports for this meeting. Guests and stakeholders, welcome. Our agenda includes a place for you to share your concerns or advice. Agenda item number 6 allows for public comments. I'll consider each of your requests individually and either invite you to speak then, or I might ask you to wait until we reach our agenda item corresponding to your concern. As chairman of this meeting, I reserve the right to alter the order of the agenda. Right now, I don't plan to. Also, depending on the length of the meeting, we'll have a break somewhere in the middle. Agenda item number 2 calls for discussion and action to approve the minutes for the board meeting held on May 22nd, 2025. Does any board member require discussion? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the board meeting of May 22nd, 2025. Motion was made by Dr. Bockham, seconded by Dr. Wofford. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. One moment. Okay. Okay. Agenda item number 3 is the president's report. So I'm going to list the events of my involvement and the involvement of some of our board members and staff since the last meeting, and then a couple of items for the future before the next board meeting. So June of 2025, NBCE Part 4 Test Development Committee in Greeley, Colorado. Dr. Mix, I understand you represented our board on that committee. During my report here, was there any advice that you wanted to offer about your involvement there?
No, it was just trying to be helpful, and I felt like it was a good meeting, and I was happy to be there. So thank you.
Appreciate your involvement.
Okay.
On June 27 and 28, an event, the Cairo Texpo Convention in Frisco, Texas. I attended the event as a vendor along with Dr. Bush and his agency staff. Several of us attended the presentation of the board's 4 mandatory hours of instruction on ethics, rules, documentation, and coding. And then on July 10th through the 12th, the Texas Chiropractic College Homecoming Convention on the TCC campus in Pasadena, Texas. I attended that event as a vendor along with several agency staff members. And again, several of us attended the presentation of the board's 4 mandated hours of instruction on ethics, rules, documentation, and coding. Future events on, first of all, mark your calendars. October 30th is going to be the next board meeting here in this room at 9 a.m. That's October 30th. And then November 7 through 9, the Part 4 administration, Dr. Wofford and Dr. Neal are signed up to represent our Texas board as Part 4 examiners, and I'll be serving as the chief examiner. We'll also have state board members representing New Mexico, Delaware, and Illinois at our site. This will be the next to last Part 4 exam on school campuses, as most of you are aware by now. The last one will be given on school campuses May 2026, and then all of the exams will be administered at NBCE headquarters in Greeley, Colorado. I was going to give you information about that, but for efficiency, you can find everything that I was going to tell you on the NBCE website. That's nbce.org. And that ends my report. Agenda item number 4 calls for board committee reports. Committee chairs, when I call on you, please acknowledge your committee members and summarize your activities. Rules Committee, Dr. Michael Henry as chair.
Yeah, hi. I think currently it's just Dr. Bacham and I on rules while we're waiting the appointment of a new committee member. And in the meantime, just to kind of get everybody up to speed on the rules. So we've been in kind of a holding pattern. We've been anxiously awaiting our new general counsel, who I'm excited to welcome, and I'm sure that Mr. Bush will give him a even more detailed introduction, but Mr. Rudy Calderon. So during this transition period, when we were going from our former general counsel to a new, it was discovered that none of the rules that were voted on for proposal since March of 24 were submitted to the Texas Register properly. The way the Rules Committee works is that we vote as a board on approving language to propose for public comment. There's a required public comment period of 30 days, and then we can vote on adopting or not adopting that rule. Well, since none of those were presented, there have been no rule changes that have been properly put into place since March of last year. And so we will be putting together a plan to get caught back up and take action on the things that have been voted on and go from there. I take responsibility for this. I should have caught it much sooner, and I will be paying much better attention going forward, I can assure you. So what we have already met with our new general counsel, and the plan that we have going forward is going to be to immediately review all rules that have been voted on. Anything that has been done properly will be sent to the register, and we will be able in October to vote on adopting any of those rules that we've already looked at the language on. So October will probably be a longer board meeting. In fact, the next several will probably be longer board meetings, at least in the rules department. Anything that we flag as needing to be re-reviewed because some of this stuff's older and we may not have seen that language in a while, we'll bring back up as re-proposing or new items in October. So just kind of be prepared for some catch up in October. We will also hopefully have a few of the rules that have been really close to the finish line on ready to present language to propose ready in October. And then starting in February, we're going to get back on track on really focusing on the drafting of rules that we know are overdue. There's a state requirement that we review and update our rules regularly, and due to legal issues, there have been certain rules that haven't been updated or reviewed in quite a while. And so we're going to get back on track with that. And so by the May of 26 board meeting, we should be up to speed, back in action, and we've got a good plan to get there. Any questions on any of that so far from the board? Okay. Today, you'll see in your agenda items 14 through 17. Those may look really familiar because we discussed and voted on some of those last time. Today, nothing is ready to be proposed. We're still doing cleanup on that, so we will be, if there's going to be a quick discussion, any questions on those items, we can have it. Otherwise, we'll move past that. As well as agenda items 18 through 22 are rules up for adoption, but because those were not submitted to the Texas Register, there's no action that can be taken on them. So it's going to be a much shorter rules meeting today, and we'll make up for it over the next few. So thank you. That is our committee report.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. And so when we do get to those blocks of agenda items, I will just simply announce the group of items and ask board members if you have any discussion on those, and then we'll move forward. The Enforcement Committee Chair, Dr. Nicholas Baucom. Dr. Baucom.
Thank you. Pretty short and sweet. We met on Tuesday the 19th for enforcement. We did it virtually. 14 cases were discussed. I've got to commend the enforcement team, the investigative team. I mean, in 10 years on the board, we've never been this caught up. I mean, they're really on top of everything, and it's allowing us to start looking at some things to make the whole process easier going forward. But yeah, enforcement's going great at the moment. Knock on wood.
I'm sorry. Did you say when your most recent enforcement meeting was?
Yes, sir. It was on the 19th, Tuesday, August 19th.
Okay, thank you. Education Standards Committee is next with Dr. Scott Wofford as chair.
So on our team is Dr. Neal and Dr. Abraham, and we basically have no report because Jennifer does such an amazing job. We didn't have anything we had to go over, so she kind of covers it for everybody. So really there's not a report to give because she takes care of everything.
Thank you, Dr. Wofford. Licensing Committee, Mr. Joshua Holub, is he? Dr. Abraham, did you want to have a comment about the Licensing Committee?
Nothing much.
No.
We didn't meet, and there was nothing. Usually the staff they do a phenomenal job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Under the new structure, I have you, Dr. Abraham, on the Education Standards Committee, and in the Licensing Committee, I have Mr. Joshua Holub as chair, and also Dr. Mix and Dr. Wofford on that committee. So after this meeting, I'll send out a memo, who's on what committee, and make sure everybody's straight on it, okay? Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 5 calls for reports from our executive director and agency staff. Dr. Boyd Bush, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Bronson. I'm going to start things rolling by an introduction of Mr. Rudy Calderon, if I pronounced that right. Close enough. Rudy comes to us from ERCOT, but Rudy has been around the Capitol for a number of years. He was interim executive director at the vet board, general counsel there as well. And he did an actual tour through the SOA offices as an administrative law judge. So Rudy comes with a wealth of experience. He's already hit the ground running. He's ferreted out a lot of things that we need to address, and he's made a list of how we're going to address them. And I'm just impressed with his stick-to-itiveness, his understanding of what he needs to do. But he's got a great personality, friendly, fits right in, laughs at my jokes, so he's good to go. So he'll get a good evaluation. But I would like to join and welcome you, Rudy, to the board, and appreciate that. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really looking forward to working with each and every one of you. I've had a great almost 3 weeks so far. So, but yeah, I'm happy to have jumped in, start work, and see where we go. Thank you all for the welcome.
Now, his resume goes much deeper than that, but hit some of the highlights of it. So if you get a chance to visit with you, went over here to UT, so he's a local fella, and he's got some great stories. So I encourage you to get to know him. So.
Dr. Bush, I'm going to take a stab at the pronunciation. I believe it's Calderon.
Calderon.
Very good. Thank you.
That works. I'll be working on that one then. So in the board materials that I provided, basically my report is twofold. I'm going to start off with a legislative update. Basically, there's not a great deal of changes to the practice of chiropractic. I've put together a chart with some explanations, kind of a summary of what's taken place. If you go into each one of those, then of course, if you look at it, there's a hot link in there. You can click on it. It'll take you straight to the bill. They've got some breakdowns and so forth. But in the materials, I'll hit the highlights of them very quickly. First one that we'll address is House Bill 216. Just deals with the itemized bill for healthcare services. It just gives kind of a little bit more of a tightened definition of what you need to make sure that you have in an itemized billing. It kind of also breaks down how you present that, adding a component that makes it a little bit easier for you to distribute. So if I as a patient, ask for an itemized bill, it gives you some options to work through. House Bill 541, direct patient care by physicians and healthcare practitioners. Basically, it adds the title of direct primary care, changes it to direct patient care. So just a verbiage change pretty much is all that has to say there. House Bill 1700, again, deals with records, with telemedicines and making sure that you keep appropriate records, gives you a breakdown of how those, it's standardized format retention of those records, and just making it more consistent across the board. Then Senate Bill 912, verification of healthcare practitioners' continuing education compliance. So basically, this one's a little more detailed. We are required as a board now to provide an avenue for chiropractors to be able to go online and see where their continuing education status stands, whether they need more, and so forth. In the bill, it states that we are not to expend any funds to do that we can't pay for it. In other words, it has to be done by an outside vendor, and that charge will be transferred to the chiropractor. I've had prices anywhere from $3 per licensee to $20 a licensee. I've heard some, I haven't actually seen it, that goes higher than that. Fortunately, this board has had the wherewithal to think ahead of that curve, and we're in the process of finishing up our own continuing education module that gives you all of the access, and it won't cost chiropractors a dime. And so we've had the gentleman that we're working with has had lost his father, and so there's been just a slight delay, but we'll have that online very quickly in the next fiscal year, and it'll be up and running. We'll provide directions on how to work it and give an update on all of that. So that's one of the big heavy lifted items. Now, there are several companies out there wanting to do this, and so fortunately we don't have to worry about that. Senate Bill 1188 was more detailed. This one had to do with electronic health records. This one comes from Senator Colcourt, and of course she knows this field very well and is very interested in all sorts of things medical. So it breaks down some different things about using artificial intelligence in diagnostics, restricted data that you cannot collect, and where you enter it, access that guardians have to minors' records, how you put amendments if you have to change something or update something, and then it gives the breakdown at the very end of the penalties involved with violation of this statute. So it's very detailed, and but in the board materials, it gives you a nice little breakdown of the highlights of what we have to address. And those are the main ones. We have some agency-wide that we are dealing with. We have to look at our website and do some transformation to make it to update it, to make it more technologically advanced. We're looking at a lot of different options on how that's supposed to be broken down, and so we're waiting on further instructions from the Department of Information Resources to know exactly what we're supposed to be doing. So there are things that will affect the agency that you guys won't even see. Hopefully, that's the plan, and so we can get it done. And so those are the basic ones. You guys got any, before I move to the next section, you got any other questions on the legislation that I've presented there?
I would like to clarify on SB 912.
Yes.
Sunset, but the last Sunset went through directed us to start doing an audit process for records.
Yes.
Is this overriding that we will now be directly verifying every licensee's CE before relicensure?
I have reached out for clarification on that.
Thank you.
Because, we don't know. And so,
Contradictory direction.
and we probably would have an answer, except for the 2 special sessions we've had to go through.
Okay.
And so as soon as I know for sure, I'll definitely update.
Because that'll be a
everyone.
big change. I mean,
Yes, it will be.
all right, thank you.
Yes, definitely. But we're following the current procedure until we get told otherwise.
Well, and I know that our staff has done a great job of keeping up with those records, even if it wasn't
absolutely.
how we were
Yeah.
auditing and
Yeah.
verifying.
I think we're on top of it, and it's going to be a very easy transition. Dr. Bronson?
Also on Senate Bill 912, since we're going to be having that CE recorded electronically, log in, et cetera, I would think that it's going to be as easy as a click of a mouse, but
For the most part. And it's the nice part about it is it's for those that are providing the CE training, gives them a way to enter the information also. So that way it's a direct link to where they can provide the information. Now, Jennifer knows more of the details of the bones on how it works. If there's something that she can answer on that, she'll be happy to, I hope.
Senate Bill 1188, is this going to require rule change? Yeah, so this is exactly what we've been waiting for before we put anything regarding AI into rule.
Exactly.
Okay.
And on that same token is I've currently completed 6 AI courses. So I understand AI and governance, what we need to watch out for, the areas where violations can take place. In the middle of another one, I'm having a blast. So that I can protect the agency on anything that we're dealing with from an AI standpoint. Yesterday I was scoping out a website that advertises AI help for chiropractors in diagnosis, note-taking, and those kind of things. And so that's going to be one of my side projects. I do projects, and that's going to be one of them, to actually go through and see what it does and how it will affect our rulemaking then in the process. So I'm taking a deep dive on this one.
Okay, thank you. Those are all the questions that I have regarding our compliance with recent legislation.
All right. The next half of
Can I ask one quick question about
Sure,
that
please
too?
do.
On that same one on 1188, the
Uh-huh.
very first key takeaway you have there is data location.
Yes,
The cloud.
the cloud.
So, so are the doctors then somehow need to know where if they're doing cloud storage, where that cloud is actually being held? Is there some type of
There's a certification process, yes.
Okay, there is.
Yeah, and that's what other legislation is really directed at them, that because of the political climate, we now have to have a certificate. If I'm a cloud provider, I have to have a certification that my physical equipment is inside the borders of the United States.
Okay.
Is this more directed at the EHR companies to start putting that
Yes.
out to say, yes, we're certified?
Yes.
Okay.
But it still requires the practitioner to do due diligence to make sure.
Yeah.
And so,
I guess it's emails.
yeah, so it's one of those things.
And then one last with regards to the AI.
Good question,
The,
though, but
the the direction I've seen it is with regards to X-rays.
Mhm.
Is AI being utilized to analyze the X-rays that we take, shoot us back, hey, this is what we found, etc. And so I have been asked, is that allowed? And so hopefully one of those clarifications is
That's
is
what we're
that-
going to be looking at. In fact, that's one of the agenda items that I believe that they're going to be putting together a committee that looks at, okay, how far do we go with regulating this? This says that it needs to be regulated. Then they're going to anytime a new law comes out, there's a think tank, a committee or something that puts all the parameters together. And so we're going to find out how that works. And it may actually wind up falling on us to make those parameters. And so that's what again, another item I'm seeking clarification. I spent more time talking to the Capitol after the fact than I did before almost. So, but I enjoy that. So it works.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Good
Excellent
question.
questions.
Yeah, those are good
When I
questions.
originally read through this, I had the same question, so I'm glad that you spoke up.
Good.
One more question of clarification on the location of
Yes.
data physically stored in the U.S. You said it's hard drives and stuff, but the cloud, is there such thing as an American cloud?
Yes. Yeah. What it is you got a building full of computer servers, and that is physically located inside the United States. We connect through the cloud. It's not really through the cloud. It's a bunch of lines going to those. I mean, think about the good old days when you had your computer hooked up to the printer by cable, right? It's the same type of technology, except it's more advanced, and it goes halfway across the country or all the way across the country. And there is a sense of satellite engagement involved with those kind of things. But the physical locality of those storage banks must be within the United States. And
Okay.
so, yeah, that's
I
definitely.
still sometimes I think literally, and I'm thinking,
Floating
okay,
around.
there's a cloud and a jet stream.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, they got one of them charged. I think that's one of them right over there that keeps our stuff. But no, that's it. It's people think of it that way, but it is very physical in the process, and very fast transmission. I mean, if you really, okay, I won't go off that. But if you think about it, what it really takes technology-wise to make that happen, to where I'm getting on my cloud email and my cloud drives to get information, how quickly that operates, especially if you had AOL back in the day. You know, that kind of thing. Good questions. Other questions? I'm happy to answer any of them. Okay. The second thing that I want to discuss is we are in the process of re-examining our newsletter that we send out, so that we can set up a process where we have consistent dates it comes out on. Also, I'll be reaching out to the chiropractic colleges. I would like some scholarly articles added to our newsletter. I would love for an opportunity, cutting edge things that are happening. We would love to be able to add some of those kind of articles. And I'm sure you've got a few scholarly folks in those schools that we can do that with. And so I'll be reaching out more in the future so that we can try to build a partnership. And I would love the opportunity to give an avenue so that we can do that. So, yes, sir.
Pardon the interruption. I just want to announce that our board member, Mr. Joshua Holub, is now in the meeting. It's 9:32 a.m. on August 21st, 2025.
Very good. So we're looking to enhance what we're doing, and I'm excited about that. So if you have suggestions or things that need to be added, then please let me know by all means. And pretty much that sums up what I would like to present. I'm open for any other questions that you might have.
You were going to talk about the newsletter?
Yeah.
Going to advise? You just did it.
Just did
While
it,
I
yeah.
was.
Yeah, well,
thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
But if you got questions or anything you want to add, that'd be great.
No. We're
Okay.
good. Thank you.
No, thank you.
So let's hear from Ms. Jennifer Herzenberg, our Director of Operations.
Good morning, board members. In your materials is a snapshot of our financials as of August 11th of 2025. We're at the very end of our fiscal year, so you'll notice that Some of the objects of expense are getting short, but as long as we have money in the whole appropriation to cover those, we are good. So it looks scary seeing the red, but in the total, we're still in the black. So everything's good with our expenditures, and we're on track to collect our revenues that the Office of the Governor would like us to collect. I'll be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, Ms. Hartzenberg. Director of Licensing, Ms. Sarah Matthews.
Good morning, members. In your packet, the licensing dashboard shows the licensing stats for the third quarter of fiscal year 2025. Not many changes going on in the licensing department. We're staying busy as normal. In June 27th through the 28th, I attended Chiropractic in Frisco. And then July 10th through the 11th, I attended TCC Homecoming in Pasadena. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Anybody? Thank you, Ms. Matthews. Director of Enforcement, Mr. Chris Walling.
Thank you. Good morning, board members. As I said, we met August the 19th for our enforcement committee. We, from May 13th to August the 12th, we did an intake of 43 complaints. 33 of those were administratively closed. Through the process of, with the enforcement committee, we presented 14 cases. 5 of those were non-violations and 9 of those were recommended violations. We also have 7 cases currently pending with law enforcement. We've issued 1 cease and desist order since then. Currently, we're averaging 120 days, so we've kind of gone down from the 225 days that is allowed. Our standard of care reviews, we had 11 cases that Dr. Kerbin provided us with the standard of care review. She's done an excellent job for us, by the way. She has been fielding a lot of questions and helping us with doctors who have questions or concerns about the scope of practice or what may be out there for them. But she's been keeping busy. So thank you, Dr. Kerbin. Investigation caseload right now, we're at 104 cases that are currently open. 50 of those are with investigation, 54 are with legal. We do have a backlog, as y'all probably know, that we are working on, and I'm excited to have Rudy with us. I'm anxious to get with him and start working with him because I think the enforcement, our division will be really doing even better with Rudy on the team. And we've also hired a new investigator that will be in the field of Houston. So she'll be coming on board September 2nd for training. And we're looking forward for her. She has a great background in the medical background. So that's going to even help us with our caseload. But I'll tell you right now, Chris and Amy have done a phenomenal job. They take on a lot of load and they do a great work, and I'm very proud of them. So right now, top 3 violations. We have one of our still, I think right now, is billing violations that we're seeing, standard of care violations, and patient record violations. So that's all I have. So if you have any comments or illicit remarks towards me, let me know. I'll be glad to answer.
When you say there's 50 investigated and 54 legal, does that mean that there's 54 that are awaiting, or what does legal mean?
So 50 are with investigators right now that are assigned, open cases that are currently being investigated. 54 have gone through the process of an enforcement committee for recommendation. Most of those at this time are backlog cases, but yeah, they're with legal. So there needs to be some kind of resolution made, agreed order, something that needs to be done at the point of negotiation.
Thank you.
And that's the nice thing about having Rudy on board is he now can expedite those cases, and we can come to some settlement on them. Chris and his crew has been very good about, around before Rudy came on board, they really started going back, combing through, make sure where we were with every case that's on the books, whether it's closed or opened, and that way we know exactly what needs to be done. And so that's why they're able to address them so easily. So he set the table for them. Now Rudy's going to prepare the meal.
Yeah, and I'm working through those 54 cases to see what the priorities are. And I got to say that 120 days is very impressive from my experience. That's just incredible. So
From mine
we'll
too on
keep
this
going.
board, that's,
Yeah,
that's a
we'll,
great
we'll
number.
keep going with that and get those 54 cases rolling pretty quickly.
Yes. So I appreciate the report, including the top 3 violations, the categories: billing, standard of care, and patient records. Those 3 things, it would be great to highlight those in the newsletter. I think that you're on top of that already, and also in whenever we have an opportunity to advise our instructors of the currently the 4 mandated board hours, they can have something to focus on.
Is that a shift in the makeup of the top violations? I'm not seeing advertising on there, which is what I had always felt like we had a lot of.
Yeah, I recently, I think this next newsletter, I did a little thing on advertising, because advertising was when I first came here, that was our biggest thorn. But I think through enforcement and education, we've seen that drop.
Seems like a shift, so that's great.
But yeah, I think the doctors out there have gotten the message and done a really good job with advertising. I'm sure it still happens. We do have some that have come in, but yeah, right now it's just I think we focus a lot right now on standard of care. I think that's kind of coming up from the billing, but those are just billing. When I say billing, it's a wide range of problems there. With either I've gone blank here. Miscoding and overcharging, or what is it? Coding, yeah. And then the standard of care violations. That's a wide range of things also, where it comes to either injury to a patient or misdiagnosis or other things like that.
Also, I just wanted to add real quick too. I think the advertising. I think we finally gotten through the misunderstandings that we were having post Supreme Court ruling, as far as what could be advertised and what couldn't, with the Supreme Court ruling that came down. But I think the ticket system's helped a lot too. That's really helped substantially with advertising. Just to.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Walling.
Yes, sir.
Agenda item number 6 is reserved for public comments. The board will now entertain general comments from the public on matters not listed elsewhere in this agenda. Your comments are important to us, so please share your concerns openly, understanding that a 3-minute presentation is customary. As I mentioned earlier, if your comment corresponds to an item on our agenda, we would prefer to hear from you during our discussion on that topic.
Since we're not going to call this individually, do you want to allow Mr. Kelly to speak now instead of during that agenda?
Yes. So we have Dr. Steve Tullius signed up, registered to speak, representing Dr. Scott Kelly and the Chiropractic Society of Texas, testifying regarding CCE rule change. And are you here? Come on up, sir. Yeah.
So we're going to probably not be calling those items individually, since we're not, because of the rules issue. So if you'd like to speak on it now, that would be a good time.
And Dr. Tullius, just to clarify, on the form that you filled out, you stated that you're testifying in regards to a Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners proposal and that you are in favor. So as you speak to us, would you clarify that, please?
Yeah, that may have been a misunderstanding on my part.
Understand.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Is your microphone on? If not,
is it on?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, there we go. I'd just like to comment on really quickly on the staff. I recently reached out regarding CE hours to Sarah, and just the professionalism, the quick response, super helpful. I just wanted to commend the staff. So thank you very much. Chair, members of the board, good morning. For the record, my name is Dr. Steve Tullius, here on behalf of Dr. Scott Kelly, President of the Chiropractic Society of Texas. First, I want to thank you for addressing the clerical typo that caused the Secretary of State to return this filing. While we fix that housekeeping item, we believe we have a timely opportunity to modernize the rule itself. As written, the Texas licensure is effectively tied to a single private accreditor, the Council on Chiropractic Education. That exclusivity is unnecessary and out of step with the neutral approach used across much of health licensing. The board's duty, as you all are aware, is to protect the public with clear, fair, and durable standards without delegating state authority to any one private entity. So the cleanest way to do that is to anchor eligibility to accrediting agencies recognized by the U.S. Department of Education, which is how Texas Medicine here in Texas actually does that. The Texas Occupations Code requires that U.S. medical education be accredited by an accrediting body officially recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. That's the model we're proposing for chiropractic as well. Other states are also doing this. This is not something new. Across the country, there's 14 jurisdictions that use U.S. Department of Education language versus prescriptive accrediting agency language. Arizona, Oklahoma, Delaware, Vermont, Idaho, New Hampshire, just a few, and others are actively engaging in looking at this to change this as well. Now, there is a very timely context to this. You may or may not be aware that Sherman College of Chiropractic just was recognized last month by the International Agency for Chiropractic Evaluation, which is an agency that's been involved in international accreditation for 2 decades. New Zealand College of Chiropractic is also accredited by that agency, and they are actively seeking U.S. Department of Education recognition. So we believe this underscores, one, the evolving accreditation landscape and the importance for non-prescriptive recognition-based language. And so adopting neutral USD language ensures Texas is aligned regardless of which qualified agency is recognized in the future by U.S. Department of Education. So our requested action is that we respectfully ask the board to, number one, approve that typo correction today, and 2, direct staff to publish a companion rulemaking that replaces CC-only wording with a neutral USDE standard. This keeps Texas focused on public government maintained recognition process, clear for applicants, enforceable for the board, and durable over time. And the Chiropractic Society of Texas will gladly provide draft text, line edits, and supporting materials to help staff move that quickly through notice and comment. Thank you for the time to present this, and I'm open to any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you.
Agenda item number 7 involves requests to sit for the Texas Jurisprudence Examination pursuant to Texas Occupations Code 201.304A2. In a moment, I'll call upon our Director of Licensing, Sarah Matthews, to introduce each request individually. Board members, following any discussion, I'll entertain a motion and a second. Ms. Matthews?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Bronson. Agenda item 7A is an evaluation of criminal history requests for Meredith Sanders. I don't believe she is here. Ms. Sanders is interested in pursuing a Doctor of Chiropractic degree. She's requesting an evaluation of her criminal history to see if she would be eligible for licensure in the state of Texas. She is planning on enrolling at Parker University upon approval. And the staff recommendation is to allow Ms. Sanders to enter chiropractic college to pursue her Doctor of Chiropractic degree. Once a degree has been obtained, she would be eligible to apply for a chiropractic license and would be allowed to sit for the jurisprudence exam at her own expense. This approval would be contingent on any future events and would only be based on the facts that we have today. Any future events such as arrests, convictions, or violation of probation orders would result in the termination of this agreement.
I'd like to move that we adopt staff recommendations to allow her to sit as long as there's no issues over the next 4 years of chiropractic school.
Motion was made by Dr. Henry and seconded by Dr. Baucom to accept the staff recommendations under these provisions stated by Sarah Matthews. Is there any further discussion on this one? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Good work. The next group of agenda items pertains to matters of enforcement. There are 5 items on this group, none of which have content regarding advice from staff or action from the board. So for the record, do I have to read each item individually?
You can take them up as a group if there's nothing in each item.
Okay, so for in lieu of reading each item individually, I'll say that agenda items 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 do not require board action, and so we'll move to board policy discussions. So this on the agenda is a provision for board policy discussions. Items listed here include topics which have, for various reasons, become worthy of discussion. And so our discussion in open meetings is a way for us to share information with each other on issues that don't necessarily warrant rulemaking, but deserve our attention. And the board may discuss but take no formal action on these matters. Although under certain circumstances, the board may direct staff as a result of the discussions. The topic of agenda item 13 was on the May 22nd meeting agenda, and during that meeting I shared some insights based on information that I had received. Today, we're honored to have 2 esteemed representatives of Texas Chiropractic College who'd like to provide us with firsthand information and share their perspectives. Dr. Sandra Hughes, the president of TCC, and Dr. Stephen Foster, the immediate past president of TCC. Please come forward and make sure your microphones are on. And the floor is yours as you wish.
Good morning, Chairman and the board. Thank you for this time to address some of the issues brought up in the previous meeting. Going through the items that you guys discussed, one of the things that we would like to clarify first is the certificate program. The 2 weeks that the Japanese come to Texas Chiropractic College, it is not a certificate program that they are coming for. It is part of their overall program of their education in Japan, and it's just a subsection of their education that they are coming for. There was another statement in the last board minutes that they are doing this to get their credentials faster. This is not true. In Japan, there's currently no licensure requirements for anyone to practice chiropractic. With that being said, Tokyo Chiropractic College did exist for a while, and it was a bachelor's master's program. So we're looking at it through the lens of what we do here in the United States being a doctoral program. And in order to enter into that program, you only had to have a high school diploma. So the students of Japan are meeting the credentials if they had still had their program there in Tokyo. But since the Tokyo Chiropractic College has closed, they are looking for ways to further their education other than more of a internal apprentice mentorship and continuing ed program that they are putting on. The program that we have been working with them has been under the guise of following the WHO guidelines. When you look at the WHO guidelines, in Part 1, Section 7, it is for limited chiropractic education. And in Category 2B, it talks about education for such individuals in countries that do not have licensure requirements. And so when you read through that section, it talks about getting the programs to 2,500 hours as opposed to 4,200 hours, which we have here in the United States. This is what I've been working with the Japanese group over the last year. They have continuing ed. Their ed for the JCA is a lifetime education where they start with them have continuing ed courses or start their courses for their training underneath their organization. And then following education, they come to Texas in order to get more clarification, making sure that they're doing things safely and correctly. And we feel that this is in collaboration with the WHO guidelines, being that it says you need to work with an accredited institution to make sure that you are doing what you are doing correctly in your program. With that being said, they continue with their education upon returning to Japan. But prior to coming to us, they are already treating in their facilities based off of the regulations in their country. I know there are concerns for our instructors and for the public safety of Texas. They are not treating any individuals when they are here in Texas. They're using this only as an educational program, and they are working amongst each other in order to better their skills, their diagnoses, and making sure that they are safe for their patients when they return back to Japan. Dr. Foster has been more involved with the academic side of the program, so that's where he is here today in order to help discuss further what it is that they are learning and what we are doing with the individuals. Do you have any questions thus far on what I've spoken to? Yes, sir.
One question I'm going to ask you that I've been asked, unfortunately, repeatedly, and I agree with you to the extent of the academics. I don't, and accreditation, I don't think we have any jurisdiction over that at all. Are they adjusting at all, even if they're adjusting each other? In the state of Texas, we do have jurisdiction over that.
Right.
That is my concern, quite frankly. So if they're not adjusting, or other people, yes, I don't believe that we have authority. But if they are, I believe we have complete authority. So that's my question: are they adjusting even each other there?
Currently, underneath the program, yes, it is a small percentage of the curriculum that they receive while they're here in Texas.
And in my opinion, that falls under us, because if they're in the state of Texas, that falls under the safety of the state of Texas. So that would be a concern of mine, and I would like to see, and I'm not saying they can or cannot. Please let me clarify that. And Dr. Foster and I, I would love to visit with both of you, but I think that's the big caveat under all of this, quite frankly. I'm just being very transparent, right, because I believe we have a fiduciary responsibility to either oversee or make sure that it is within the legal boundaries of this board.
Right.
Thank you.
There, unfortunately, an article was published back, 8 or 10 months ago that kind of stirred up the profession a little bit. And we've certainly had any number of phone calls, emails, threats, you name it. So first, I would like to say this to this group. Thank you for at least asking us to come talk about this. In the last 10 months, you are the first group that's even picked up the phone to say, is what was printed in Dynamic Chiropractic correct? Is it true? Is it accurate? It's a salacious story, so let's just run with it and let's just, destroy an institution that's been around for 118 years. It's frustrating, quite honestly, but thank you for the opportunity to hopefully provide some clarity to you. We've had an ongoing relationship with this organization for almost 25 years. This program has been going on for almost 25 years. So, as Dr. Hughes said, chiropractic is unregulated in Japan. They've had multiple attempts to have programs there. They can't become financially viable businesses as an educational program because of the lack of need of licensure in there. So what happens is, you can imagine what happened anywhere where there's no regulation. The gaps are going to get filled in with either entrepreneurs, or it's going to be the Wild West as far as how things are operational. So this organization that we deal with, the Japan Chiropractic Association, has been around for 48 years in Japan. So this is not a new thing, and they have been working over those 48 years to try to put together a program that will be acceptable to Japanese individuals who are interested in chiropractic, but also work in a model that can be sustainable in Japan. Is it the same as what we do in the U.S.? No, it is not. And does that frustrate even us of course, we want everyone to be at our U.S. standard, but that's just not the way it is in the world, especially in countries that are unregulated related to chiropractic. And so we've taken the approach to help them. So what happens when these individuals come to us, as Dr. Hughes alluded to, they're already practicing, and I'm going to use the term chiropractic because that's what they call it over there in Japan. They already have clinics. They already are seeing patients. They're already involved in the patient care. And again, we may not like it, but it's neither here nor there with us as the state of Texas. So then, one of the things that they're unable to do over there is study human anatomy and human dissection. So that's the majority of the program when they come to us. We get them into the cadaver lab. We get them to understand and kind of help them with their understanding of anatomy. They have lectures on orthopedics and neurology and things related to evaluating a patient. We talk to them about soft tissue and all of that. The technique part of it, they're with us about 100 hours when they're here. Our last time we did this, our technique was 6 of those hours, and primarily it's show us what you're doing. Now, to answer your question, yes, they do that on each other, and that's in our discussions already. That's such a small part of what goes on this program. It could be pushed to the side and done away with immediately. So that's really kind of irrelevant. It's more for us been an issue of looking at what they're doing and what you have learned over in Japan to do. Is that being done in a way that we, as how we train people to be safe, and that's our primary concern. And so it's this whole process it's kind of turned into something. We, as Dr. Hughes says, we do not issue them any sort of certification. They literally get a piece of paper that said you attended one training in the U.S. That's it. That's all it says. And we have no intention of certifying them for anything. First of all, we don't have any authority to certify them in Japan for anything if we wanted to. To Dr. Hughes's comment as well is so they've been under the same leadership for the last 47 years, and that leadership has now been passed off from the one who founded the organization to his son has taken over. His son is much more progressive and I guess and open to an understanding that their training needs to be expanded. It needs to be better than what it is now. And so we've kind of worked with them as someone who does this and has done it for a long time to maybe help them understand what the next steps would be. And so as Dr. Hughes alluded to, the WHO has some very specific guidelines about chiropractic training worldwide, which would apply to them, and specifically as it relates to countries who are what are called emerging, that have no regulation, that have no formal education system, and recommend that they partner with an accredited program somewhere in the world to help guide them through that expansion. I'm pleased to say, and she's alluded to it as well, they've agreed to do that with us and to get them to the point of taking them from where they are, which is there's a lot of hours involved in their training. I mean, most of the individuals who came to our program had at least, it averaged about 3,200 hours of training before we ever saw them. But to formalize that, to get that into something that would be recognized by World Health Organization, and get them that first step, hopefully toward a full, degree over there. But that's where we are with them. And so it's unfortunate it has come to this, and how things kind of run away from reality sometimes. So that's what we've done with them up to this point, and believe that there is a good future for them over there, and would certainly like to be a part of helping them develop and expand their training to get to that level that is accepted on a world stage. So.
Thank you, Dr. Foster. You mentioned some of the courses of instruction in this program. Does it also include chiropractic philosophy and patient assessment, identifying subluxation complex, et cetera? Or is that done over in Japan?
That's done over in Japan. I mean, the few hours that we do engage with them with technique, I mean, there has to be some conversation about that technique. You're applying it for what reason, right? What are you trying to accomplish? But most of that is done. It's done in Japan. They're like I say, they're already doing that when they get here. So,
thank you.
If I may, we make sure that safety is the first thing that they receive in training when they are here. We do cover that to make sure that that is a priority and that they are aware that we take that seriously before we even move into any curriculum.
Thank you.
So one question that I have again, and I think you answered my question, and I hope you understand where I was coming from.
No,
whether
yeah.
they're adjusting. Has TCC or this Japanese association considered having instructors from TCC go to Japan to teach them over there? With all due respect, if there's not a licensure to talk technique versus them coming over here and literally adjusting each other, you know, because I just wonder if that's been considered.
We were exactly talking about that while we were sitting over there reading back through the comments from the last board meeting to make sure we addressed them all. That was one of the things we were discussing as a possibility.
in fact, well, and in the past, not only has it been considered, it's been done.
I think the only issue that I really see that keeps coming up would be the clinical practice, and occupations code 201.003C is what carves out chiropractic students in the U.S. to be able to clinically practice on each other. You guys have to decide how much legal exposure you're willing to take. It goes away if they're not clinically practicing on each other. If it's purely educational versus clinically practicing, you have a lot less to worry about. So, y'all
And
decide
so
how
by
you wanna handle
clinically
that.
practicing, you mean adjusting, right?
Yeah,
Or
the way that
technique.
talks about is
Yeah.
that's the hands-on actually touching another human and providing a clinical.
So soft tissue falls under that as well?
What's that?
Soft tissue? Okay.
Yeah. So, your legal team can be aware of the issue and make decisions based on that, I think. Great. Any questions?
I would like to make a comment. This is something that we haven't ever breached before. And I was told one time when the United States sneezes, the rest of the world gets a cold. And if these other countries that don't have licensure, and like you said, it's kind of the wild, wild west. You've got people that are adjusting that don't have a lot of education, and then you have the ones that are wanting to do it better, have more education to do that. I think we all need to stop and think just a second about where this goes. This can be huge. And I think we really need to think about the service that it provides to those other countries that do not have that level of education that we have here for what we do.
One thing I'd like to add, I don't believe this board, and I think I would ask our legal opinion, we have, in my opinion, little authority, if not any authority, over the educational process that you guys provide. You're accredited. That's what your accrediting body does. Where a lot of people think we can just, with all due respect, call you guys and say you can't do this. I don't know that we have the authority to do that. I think we do have, the concerns about what Dr. Henry was talking about. But I think I do want to make the statement that, and we can talk later, but as far as when it's what you guys, how you choose to educate, we don't have a dog in that hunt, I don't believe. But I just wanted you to understand where I was coming from and what Dr. Henry was saying. And I think you understand where we are now. I hope you do. I think you do.
Yes.
Well, I thank you for your comments as well, because, it's like, what responsibility do we have as a developed profession here in the U.S. to help? We turn our back and say, yeah, sorry, you're just going to have to figure it out on your own, or do we take a stance and maybe sure, it's caused us some heartache and some pain, but we believe in what we're doing and we believe we're doing the right thing. Can we do it more right? I guess, sure, we can look at that. The last thing we want is to be in violation of any board rules or any, laws here in Texas. Obviously we don't want to do that. And, if we feel like the program needs to be amended to meet that, then that's absolutely, it's not a problem, I don't believe, but,
Yeah, I think the spirit of expanding education is a great thing. I think I love the anatomy stuff, the education. I think you guys are probably helping those students more than anything, so no issues there.
Thank you.
Are these folks coming here to meet the standards for like putting themselves on the JCR over there, the Japanese Chiropractic Registry?
They are not eligible for the JCR. There's two competing organizations in Japan. There's the JCA, which is who we deal with, Japan Chiropractic Association, and then there's one called the JAC, the Japanese Association of Chiropractors. Okay. That group is much smaller. They probably have a membership of 600 or so. The JCA has 11,000 in their group. The JAC is who essentially owns and operates the Japan Chiropractic Registry over there. And so in order to be on the registry, you have to have been educated at a WHO, they don't really approve programs, but a one that would meet WHO standards, right? So, which is a lot of your organized.
Also require passing the MBCE Part 1 and 2.
Or the international test or their safety test. And the safety test, the JAC writes and administers through the JCR.
Okay.
So
and they can take a safety course. So you
could take a safety course of 2,000 hours and not have gone to an accredited college, not have passed National Boards Part 1 and 2, not pass the international exam. You could just do the safety exam and be able to be on.
And then I think on there I also read that whenever they do their overseas, that they get that, or that they're required to have an approved overseas license. So my question was really, are we giving them a certification, but they're under the assumption that that's actually a license based on the way that it's written on their end?
Say that.
We're giving them a class, right? Certification.
No,
we are not giving them a certification.
Don't get a certificate.
It's just education. So I guess my question is, why I don't understand why they would come for the education. I mean, they have requirements and they have standards. It sounds like they have courses. I just don't understand why it's a requirement.
Well,
I guess requirement to be here for
I
education.
think what Dr. Foster was saying, I don't think they have access to do that. Like, in our schools we have gross anatomy. I think and I'm paraphrasing, so please if I'm wrong. Yeah, they get exposed to probably more detailed, especially anatomy here, than what they can get over there. Is that not correct? Am I wrong?
Yes, it is. They see us as U.S. chiropractors, right, and specifically us at TCC as the world's leading experts in chiropractic, right? And so it is an opportunity for them to, if you were a medical doctor and you got to go do a special course at Harvard Medical School, or something like that, it's not this, yeah, sure. I'm not calling us Harvard, but maybe I am. I don't know. But it's that element of additional higher level training than what they're able to do within their own system.
I think you see this a lot in education.
I'm like that. Yeah.
I think on yours, so the JCR is not equivalent to registry. It is just, to licensure is just a registered list of people who have met those requirements. So it's.
So one of the just from an educational standpoint too. I mean, I speak for myself. Obviously, I took more away from chiropractic school taking 2 semesters of gross anatomy than I did almost any other course. I mean, that it's a substantial amount of education that you get in that class that you can't really recreate any other way. And and there are doctors that do continuing education in the state. There are classes offered, CEs that are for human dissection, just because of the amount of education you get from it. So I think that.
Well, I think the analogy to Harvard's actually a really good one because you see a lot in business now where people will say Harvard educated because they took a certificate course or they took a class at Harvard online. In fact, a lot of these Ivy League colleges are making a huge amount of money offering these certifications or these not degrees, these courses, right? And so it helps everybody a little bit, I guess. The educational institute can offer a product that they can make a profit on. The people are getting a taste of a higher level education. It's not a degree, but it is something they can say, hey, I did study at Harvard. They're not lying. They studied in the U.S. It might have been 2 weeks, but they studied in the U.S. So. That's my opinion based on rule and law is that if they're not clinically practicing on each other, then the TBCE doesn't really have a dog in the fight.
Well, it's especially both colleges, we offer postgraduate education, continuing education, and sometimes those courses have hands-on technique components. To ask, let's say we have someone from Louisiana come over and take one of those courses from us, and they're not licensed in Texas. Are we violating a code by doing that?
That's where the CE sponsorship stuff gets really weird because, the CE can be sponsored through the association or the schools, and there is a liability component that comes with that CE sponsorship. So it's the instructor who has more risk than anyone in those sort of situations. And most CE instructors, I think, are aware of that risk and decide how much of that's going to be educational versus clinical and makes those calls.
On that code, it's related to students, correct? Enrolled students.
And
To be delegate by
the code that I gave is very student focused versus training for licensees.
Student focused. Yeah. And so when they enroll with y'all, it's just a participant. It's not a student.
Correct.
Right. They're not enrolled at TCC.
As a foreign participant, I guess could you enroll them as a foreign student in a temporary program?
They wouldn't qualify.
They wouldn't qualify. Okay.
No, and then
That's
if
part of why our
it being
rule
foreign, I
allows
would also probably have to
people who
issue a
met the minimum
student
standards
visa.
in your chiropractic school are
Mhm.
deemed to have
Right.
been. Yeah, there's a lot of the lawyers are going to have to sort that one out for me.
true.
Dr. Hughes and Dr. Foster, greatly appreciate you for making the trip here and taking your time to address this board. It was very enlightening.
Thank you. And I want to reiterate, between talking with Dr. Brunson and Dr. Bush, thank you both so much for reaching out to me and giving me a chance to initially try to set the record straight before this board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't always believe what you read, right? So, thank you.
Especially if it's AI generated, right? That's another topic. Okay, folks, is everybody doing okay? If so, let's move to rules for proposal. The next set of items on the agenda would allow the board to act on rules for proposal. We're not going to do that. We could discuss items 14, 15, 16, and 17 if we need to. I will just allow any board member to speak on matter of discussion of these right now if you want to. And then if you don't, then we'll move to the next set of items. As Dr. Henry indicated, each of these rules will be revisited, prioritized, revisited, and we will thoroughly discuss each of these as much as necessary before taking action. And then the next set of items would be rules for adoption. Same thing. If you want to discuss items 18, 19, 20, 21, or 22, if you have something to say about it right now, feel free. Otherwise, rest assured, we're going to address each of these individually and thoroughly once we regroup. And then the next heading on our agenda includes items related to legal matters, which we are going to address. Agenda item number 23 allows the board to meet in closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, 551.073, 551.074, 551.076, 551.088, or 551.089 if related to the agenda items above as necessary. Also, agenda item number 24 allows the board to meet in closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, personnel matters. The board will discuss raising the compensation of the board's executive director. So at this time, the board will go into executive session to discuss agenda items number 23 and 24, as I just indicated. The time is 10:20 a.m. on August 21st, 2025. Please clear the room except for board members Boyd Bush, Rudy Calderon, and Jennifer Herzenberg. During this transition to closed session, board members, you're invited to take a break. And then once you return, and I'm certain that everyone is here, then we'll begin the closed session. The Texas Board of Chiropractic Examiners is now reconvened in open session here at 11:03 a.m. on August 21st, 2025. And agenda item number 25 calls for discussion and possible action on raising the compensation of the board's executive director. The board discussed this in closed session. Board members, do you require any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to move that we move forward with raising the compensation for the board's executive director to the max allowed by the GAA.
Motion's been made by Dr. Henry, seconded by Dr. Baucom. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it very
Congratulations,
much.
Dr. Bush, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Agenda item number 26 allows any board member to request an item for a future agenda. And agenda item number 27 allows for a motion to adjourn.
That was quick.
Motion was made by Mr. Joshua Hollip and seconded by who? By Dr. Baucom. And the time is 11:05 a.m., August 21st, 2025, and we are adjourned. Thank you, board members. Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
guests and visitors.
Good job, brother.